session is an introduction to Pilates. We're going to cover some of the basics, some fundamentals. So it's quite a good session just to go through before you start your classes. So come onto your mat and you're just going to sit in a comfortable position. So if that's cross-legged, kneeling, legs out in front of you, however you prefer, just so that you're comfortable. I'm going to start with some lateral breathing. So it's the type of breathing that we do in Pilates so that we can move more efficiently. So you're going to place your hands onto your rib cage area, just so your fingertips are touching. And then relax your shoulders. So just try not to let the shoulders come up to the ears, just keep them back and down. Find your sit bones and just sit up really tall. So lift up and out of your waist to start with. Now, you're going to breathe in through your nose. And as you breathe in through your nose, you're aiming to take the air all the way down into the back and sides of your rib cage. Okay, so as you take that inhale, the fingertips will part slightly as the air fills the lungs. Shoulders stay down. Then, as you breathe out through the mouth, fingertips come back together, and that's when you pull your deep abs in. So let's just do the breathing without the abdominal engagement, and we'll come to that in a minute. So take your breath in through your nose and breathe out through the mouth. Good. So with that breath in, just checking on the shoulders, aiming to keep them down. And you should feel your rib cage expanding out to the side. Okay, so that's your aim. If you don't get it straight away, just something to practice at home. And it does come with a bit of practice. Okay, so just one more time with that lateral breathing. Inhale through the nose and then exhale through the mouth. Okay, relax the arms down. I'm going to come down so that we are lying on the mat. So bring your feet flat, come to the front of your mat and have your hands just behind your thighs. Find your sit bones again and sit up really tall. Breathe in. And then as you breathe out, tuck under and peel down onto your mat so you're in a lying position. And then just bring your feet a little bit closer in towards your sit bones. And now take your hands just onto your hip bones. And then walk your fingers in 2 steps towards your belly button. And then 1 or 2 steps down. Okay, so now we're going to work the transverse abdominals. So we're just going to fire out our deep abs. And they're the abdominals that we want to connect when we're doing our Pilates. Now, just try and relax your body into the mat. Shoulder blades are down, pinning down, and you've got your neutral spine. So, with your breathing, you breathe in through your nose again, and as you breathe out, you contract these deep abdominals. You should feel then the connection in with the fingers. So the fingers should be feeling the muscles tightening. And then you breathe in again, release that contraction, and as you breathe out, tighten and pull them down and in. Now, if you can't feel that, a good way to notice what it should feel like is to cough. So if you just make a coughing noise, you will feel that muscle firing up. Okay, so then without the coughing, you go back to your breathing and firing up these deep abs. So breathing in through the nose, and as you breathe out, contract. So feel that tightening, push your fingers down. 1 more just like that. And then squeeze that muscle. Okay, so now we're going to add in the pelvic floor. So these are the muscles inside your body that you pull up and in. So let's bring the pelvic floor into it as well. So take your breath in, and as you breathe out, squeeze that transverse abdominal muscle on the outer, and then inside, squeeze and lift the pelvic floor. And now as you breathe in through the nose, just release everything. Go again. As you breathe out, squeeze and lift. You should feel that tightening in your front, and then release as you breathe in. 1 more just like that. And then relax that tightening there. So now we'll take that into a pelvic tilt. So at the moment you're in your neutral spine here, and what we're going to do is tip the pelvis back to an imprint. Have your hands where they are, and we'll do that with the abdominals and pelvic floor tightening and then we will move into the imprint. So stay neutral, pubic bone, hip bone are level, natural curve in your lower back here. Breathe in, and then as you breathe out through the mouth, connect those deep abdominals, squeeze your pelvic floor, and tip your pelvis into an imprint. The lower back connects to the mat, your pubic bone goes higher. Now inhale and release back to neutral and release those muscles. Now breathe out, squeeze, tip back. Connect with the mat, and then inhale, release to neutral. Let's just go for 3 more. Exhale, squeeze everything and tip back to imprint. So it's just the pelvis tipping back and forth, using the breath with that, the deep muscles firing up. Exhale, tip back. And then inhale, release. Last one. Back to your neutral. So now we're going to take that into a shoulder bridge. So exactly the same. You're going to use exactly the same breathing, abdominal connection, pelvic floor connection, and then we're going to bring the mobility into the whole back. So we're going to push up and squeeze up into a shoulder bridge. So now your arms are coming down by your side, your palms are down, and then just tuck your chin slightly towards your chest. So we've got length in the back of the neck. And make sure your feet are close in towards your sit bones so that you can support yourself in your bridge. Your feet are parallel and hip distant. Now take your breath in through your nose, and as you breathe out, connect your abdominals, your pelvic floor first. Tip back to imprint, and then continue to peel the bones of the spine up into your shoulder bridge. Now squeeze your glutes and get your hips up high. Keep looking down into your nose and watch your knees haven't flared out. You want your knees to be in line with your hips. Push into your hands and your arms. Take that breath in at the top. Now as you breathe out, soften the breastbone and then articulate back down, bone by bone, all the way to the tail. Try and keep the weight centered. Get a nice big stretch into the lower back and then find your neutral spine. Do that again. So a little breath in. And as you breathe out, engage your abdominals, pelvic floor. Find imprint and then peel off of your mat. Push evenly into both feet, squeeze your glutes, send your knees away. Find this stretch across the front of your legs and your hips. Hips are high, breathe in, and now as you breathe out, peel down. With control, bone by bone, all the way to your tail, and then back to your neutral. Bring your legs one at a time, up into your chest, and then hands onto your shins, and just hug your knees in. Rock forwards and backwards, side to side. This is a good little exercise to do when you feel like you need to just take a breather. And then we're going to go onto your side. So just resting your head into your underneath hand in a comfortable position. And then your hips are stacked. Your hips and your shoulders are in line. And with your eye line, you're looking straight ahead. Your knees are bent and your feet are together, and their feet are just in line with your hips as well. So we're going to go into a clam, and I want you to really think about your muscle on the side of your hip, on the side of your pelvis, so into your glute. I'm going to use the fingers to feel the muscle fire up. And we're going to work a lot of pelvic stability here. So you're not to let the hips, the top hip shift back and the pelvis to move. So again, we work with the breathing, the abdominal control, and the muscle that we're firing. So have your thumb onto your hip bone and then span your fingers around to your glute. Now take your breath in through your nose, and as you breathe out, pull your deep abs in and then squeeze this glute muscle and then lift your knee up slightly. It's not a big move. You feel this tightening on the glute and then you inhale to lower back down. Okay, so exhale, abdominals, glute, lift the knee. Watch that this top hip doesn't roll back, and then lower. Breathe out, lift. Breathe in, lower. Okay, so as you can see, the knee is not moving very high at all. It doesn't need to lift massively high. If you take the knee up too high, you may feel that the hip bone drops back like this. Okay, now that's just meaning that the movement is coming from the pelvis tipping and not this external rotation, and so then we're not really efficiently moving from our glute. Okay, so just 2 more here. And then last one, lift. We're just going to add a couple of little pulses from the glute here. So exhale each time you pulse. Let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then lower. So we'll go straight over onto the other side. So set yourself up with this alignment in the body. Okay, that is really important with our Pilates, that we're working on our alignment. So your feet are in line with your hips, knees are out in front of you, hips are stacked, your hips are in line with your shoulders, eyeline looking straight ahead. Thumb onto your hip bone for this one, span those fingers round so you can feel your glute. Okay, take your breath in, and as you breathe out, connect your abdominals, connect that glute and lift, hover that leg, inhale, lower. Okay, so breathing out to come up into that lift and squeeze, inhale, lower. Now you might find that one side feels very different to the other, which is very normal. Okay, make sure those fingers, you can feel that muscle contracting each time. You're still getting that sequencing of your breathing and your deep abdominals, your pelvic floor. Checking on that. If you need to slow it down, feel free to slow it down. So a little breath in as you lower, and then exhale, abdominals, pelvic floor, glute. 2 more. Last one. Hold it up there and we'll pulse. Mini pulses, working from this glute. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, lower. Okay, nice. Let's go onto your front. So we're going into some extension work from here. So you'll be flat down onto your mat, elbows bent, and your palms are down. Have your forehead hovering from your mat. Legs are out in line with your hips, toes are untucked. Now in extension work, it's really important that we don't go into a hyperextension and compress the bones in the lower back. So if you feel anything into your lower back, think about the position of your pelvis. So your pubic bone, you want to be down when you're doing your move. So you've got this length of the lower back. So it's like a little pelvic tilt, like an imprinted position. So have your hands just flat. Push your pubic bone down, so you've got that length in the lower back. And now we're going to work the extension of more into the upper spine. So take your breath in. As you breathe out, connect your deep abdominals, your pelvic floor, and squeeze your glutes, and then lift your head and your chest. Now keep your eye line looking straight down at your mat, not a huge move. And then inhale, come back down and release your glutes and abdominals and your pelvic floor. And again, exhale, squeeze everything. Pubic bone is down, you're lifting. Hands are down. You can push into the hands to encourage this extension of the upper back. And then inhale, release. Going again, squeeze. So we're firing up the upper back muscles to strengthen those here. Make sure you're not moving from your neck. So you see that my head is moving because my spine is moving and extending. Okay, keep that pubic bone down. If you feel any twinging, maybe reduce the range and check in on the pelvis position. 2 more. Breathe out, squeeze and lift. Inhale, release. Last one, squeeze abdominals, pelvic floor, glutes. And lift. Come all the way back down. Rock your hips side to side to release any tension in the back. Have your hands down, push up into your hands, and then sit back onto your heels for a child's pose stretch. So whenever we've done any frontline work, we always take the body then into this flexion just to stretch the back out. Okay, so just a few breaths here. And then restack your spine, and then we're going to go back onto our backs. So sit yourself down to the front of your mat. hands just behind the thighs, and then tuck under and come down onto the mat so that you are lying flat again. Okay, so feet are flat on the mat and you're in a neutral spine here. Okay, pubic bone and hip bone are level. Arms are down by your side, take a breath in, and now as you breathe out, lift one leg up and then bring the other leg up. So you're in your tabletop position. Now in tabletop, your knees are over your hips and your shins are parallel to the ceiling. Just point through your ankles and make sure you're in your neutral spine. So you should be feeling the work into your core muscles here. So a little tuck of the chin, make sure you've got length in the back of the neck. And we're going into some toe taps from here. So breathe in, so you're breathing in through your nose. And as you breathe out, connect your deep abdominals, your pelvic floor, and then start to lower one foot towards the mat. Don't touch the mat. Inhale, come back up. Other leg, exhale, lower the leg. And then inhale, return. So make sure when you're lowering your leg down, that's when you're breathing out. And you're not allowing your lower back to go into an arch position. So you're connecting your abdominals and that is supporting your pelvis. You're working on that stability in the pelvis here. Okay, breathe out, lower. Breathe in, lift. Just relax your upper body, relax your neck, your shoulders. Last one on either side. One more. And then take your feet down onto the mat. Just rock your hips side to side and bring the legs in, just hug them in, and again, just give your lower back a little rock around. And then roll yourself all the way up to seated. And that is our short introduction to the Pilates. Hopefully you would have got a little bit of understanding on your breathing and where you should be connecting before you're doing your moves. Also having a think about the stability in your body when you're moving, especially in the pelvis area. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions, do ask, and I will see you soon.